Back to school, and as some students see it, back to being bullied. Reports show it affects nearly half of all middle and high school students.
Team 10 investigator Adam Rakusin wanted to know just how often kids in San Diego County deal with bullying, and he discovered it is hard to find a school in the county that doesn't deal with this, Adam.
Yeah, most schools that we got information from had at least one incident, and in some cases, some had dozens of cases. We know that there's an emotional cost to bullying, but here's an actual monetary cost. $276 million. Researchers at the University of Texas at Austin found California schools lose millions a year when students miss school when they don't feel safe. It's been described as a cancer in our schools.
So many people just want to sweep it under the rug.
Affecting someone we love.
They made a lot of comments about my physical body.
Causing untold damage to our children.
I said, don't wait until they find my granddaughter in the bathroom dead.
These three families don't know each other, but they're all intimately familiar with the pain and heartbreak of one all too common issue.
Bullying.
The bullying started up again.
From day one, he was constantly bullied.
They've all dealt with bullying.
My name's Matthew York. I am 14.
Matt says the bullying began in 3rd grade.
I seemed to kind of be a target, which I don't really know why.
He tells me it started with words, finger pointing, laughing. By the time he hit 5th grade, things got physical. Matt says he was shoved out of a chair.
You fall, you hit the floor, and I just kind of looked up, and they were laughing.
A year later, the summer before his transition, the transgender teen says the anxiety and depression became too much.
I was hurting myself, and...
What do you mean?
Cutting.
Cutting became Matt's outlet.
A lot of people were, they make fun of you. They want you to hurt. So I figured this is what they want, so I obviously deserve it in some way or another.
Sadly, he's not alone in those thoughts.
No one wants to be open about your child having suicidal thoughts.
This is Tiffany and Bruce. Their son Jace is 13.
They called him pony boy, white boy, told him that he didn't belong.
Instead of focusing on his schoolwork, they say Jace spent his time at school on guard, getting lost in his thoughts.
He said he wanted to disappear. He didn't belong. Nobody liked him. He just wanted it all to stop.
Unfortunately, these aren't the only families dealing with bullying. Here are the people we've met just this year. Some willing to show their faces, others asking their identities remain hidden, afraid of retaliation. We've discovered if you add up all the reports of bullying across San Diego County, it's more than 1,000. While not all the alleged incidents are confirmed, the district's numbers do show hundreds of students disciplined each year for some type of bullying.
Bullying can start as early as preschool. It increases during elementary school years, and it does peak in middle school.
Dr. Jen Wojciechowski is a clinical child psychologist at Sharp Mesa Vista Hospital. She tells me bullying victims can feel powerless, depressed, alone.
Oftentimes they might not want to attend school, or they want to avoid more of the unstructured times in school.
I went to school.
Angel George watched her granddaughter slowly slip away.
Through what she's gone through this year, I'm mad as hell.
Angel says Alicia was bullied at school and through text messages. Things turned physical the last day of school.
She told her granddaddy, I just feel like killing myself. That's unacceptable on my watch.
Angel believes current laws and school district policies don't do enough.
I want to tell parents that they need to look, watch, and listen, and come forward.
And the kids for all three families are attending different schools this year. It's important to know not every conflict is bullying. You need to know how your school handles different situations. If you think your child is a victim, the experts say make sure to tell them your belief that bullying is wrong. Intervene immediately and make sure to take action. If you or someone you know is having suicidal thoughts, there is help out there. You can always call the crisis hotline number on your screen, 888-724-7240, or you can go to the website up2sd.org. There's so much to talk about with this topic, way too much to tell you right now on TV, but we're putting all of this information on our website. We've also got videos and links to studies and resources up here on our website. Take a look at it and see what you make of it yourself. Adam Rakusin, Team 10.
Great information, Adam. Yes, everyone needs to come forward, including other students. And our Team 10 investigators are tackling the issue of bullying, from how often it happens to success stories and current laws and policies in place to stop it. Be part of the conversation all this week on 10 News at 6.
We talk about that subject that nobody wants to talk about.
All this week, Team 10 is focusing on bullying in schools, which can tragically lead to heartbreaking endings.
Team 10's Melissa Macia is here now with that mother's plea for change.
And Steve and Kim, what we're talking about here is suicide. It's a difficult subject to tackle, especially when you're talking about your own child. But one California mother has made it her mission to shed light on this problem after her teenage daughter was assaulted, bullied, and then took her own life.
Teens, cyberbullying, and suicide.
I've lost tons of friends. Tons. And it's been hell.
Family members confirm the 16-year-old Taylor took her own life.
His family said it was after those 2 weeks of bullying that Matthew took his life.
They told me that Matthew had killed himself. I fell on the floor. I just devastated.
Local students Matthew Burdett and Taylor Alicena, just 2 teens who have taken their lives in recent years. Sheila Pott knows that pain.
I was probably in shock for a year.
I spoke to her via Skype. Sheila says her only daughter, Audrey, was assaulted at a party in Northern California, then cyberbullied online.
And as she was getting, texts and messages from people that she didn't even know, from other schools that had heard about the party or they'd heard a rumor.
Hurtful and vulgar messages.
They start to label you as, the slut and start to slut shame you.
Audrey's story told worldwide in the award-winning documentary Audrey and Daisy, now on Netflix.
She said, I can't do this anymore.
Sheila considered herself an involved parent, never thought she'd lose her daughter like this.
And she felt, more and more alone and unable to fix it.
It was the first iPhone.
San Diego State professor Dr. Jean Twenge says all the new technology isn't making things easier.
When it's cyberbullying, it's online and social media bullying, kids can't get away from it because they're always on their phones.
She recently wrote this book, which highlights that problem. It's a talk she has to have with her own daughters, the oldest going to 5th grade, who's already seen classmates involved in cyberbullying.
She told me about half the kids in her class in 4th grade already had smartphones.
The Centers for Disease Control shows suicide rates have tripled for teen girls ages 12 to 14. For older teens, it's the highest in 40 years.
I just think that the trauma of it was just too much, for her to think that there was a future.
Are schools doing enough to prevent suicide?
I don't think schools are doing enough yet to prevent suicide because I think they're afraid to broach the subject.
Sheila said after her daughter's suicide, her school brought on mental health counselors, something the school still has today. Now, when it comes to smartphones, Dr. Twenge said teens should limit use to under 2 hours. I know it sounds hard, but more than that, she found that's when suicide risk factors start to appear. If you or someone you know is having suicidal thoughts, there is help out there. You can always call the crisis hotline number right on your screen, 888-724-7240, or you can go to the website up2sd.org. And there's also a new campaign, Kim and Steve, it's called Wait Till 8th. It's encouraging families to delay getting their children a smartphone until 8th grade. And this it's great.
Yeah.
It's also caused a lot of issues.
Yeah,
too.
the safety part is wonderful, but the social media can already make girls feel insecure just by feeling that they're different by looking at everyone else.
Yeah, it's definitely something just families do need to talk about.
We were commenting, kids can get picked on if everybody else has the smartphone and your kid doesn't. It's almost a no-win sometimes.
Yeah, conversations we all need to have.
True. Thank you,
So
Mel.
true.
Our Team 10 investigators are tackling the issue of bullying, from how often this happens to success stories and current laws and policies in place to stop it. Be part of that conversation all this week on 10 News at 6.
If you are there day after day and you see what they do to these kids, you just cannot be quiet.
She claims special ed students in the South Bay are regularly abused. And when she blew the whistle, the tables were turned on her.
She says she became the victim of bullying by adults. And in a Team 10 exclusive, the classroom aide tells investigator Allison Ash why she's now willing to risk her own career to make things right for those kids.
Yeah, Sweetwater Unified has been fighting this lawsuit for 4 years, but Miranda Escoto refuses to give up. Her civil trial is set to begin in a couple of weeks, and what she plans to tell the jury, some say could send shockwaves through the special ed community.
I feel so lucky and so happy to be able to work with them.
Miranda Escoto shared pictures of her students.
It was a pleasure to work with them.
From several special ed classes in the Sweetwater district.
And this kid was such a good student.
She remembers each and every one.
This one is a lovely kid too.
Escoto, once a nurse in Mexico, is now a special ed instructional aide at Hilltop Middle School. She's worked at several other schools in the district in the past decade and claims at each one she's seen children ignored, abused, and worse.
Pushing, shoving, kicking, nicknaming.
The people responsible, says Escoto, are fellow aides and even some special ed teachers. She shared pictures she took this year. We blurred the faces. 2 students on the playground, no aides in sight. One is on the ground, the other in his walker. Another picture shows an aide who appears to pay more attention to her cell phone than the student.
They treat them like, I want to say it, but like animals. Like they are nothing.
Escoto says when she began reporting what she saw to school officials, they did nothing. That's when Escoto claims she became the victim of grown-up bullies who made her life miserable. Someone left this union code of conduct in her mailbox. It says in part, I will not criticize any union colleague.
My union vice president told me, you have to be part of the team. If you are not with us, you are against us.
Escoto's lawsuit claims she complained to her principal and a social worker about the abuse and retaliation. She also says she went to the former Sweetwater superintendent to complain about how she claims she and the students were treated.
I thought he would do something, but he didn't do anything. He talked with my principal. My principal was so mad at me.
There's a culture of complicity, secrecy and complicity, and vilification of anyone who would speak out and tell the truth.
Judy Neufeld Fernandez is a child advocate who says there's little oversight of special ed programs in local school districts, but plenty of evidence of abuse.
When I hear Miranda speak, I'm saddened, but I'm also galvanized because I'm really energized by the fact that here's another person telling the truth about what's happening to our most vulnerable kids in school.
The Sweetwater Union High School District sees things differently. In a tersely worded statement, they say, as a mandated reporter, had Ms. Escoto witnessed any abuse of students, she was obligated by law to report it to law enforcement and or CPS for investigation. The only report Escoto could share with us was this one from 2015, reporting an incident where a teacher allegedly dragged a child by his harness off the school bus. The district statement continues. Ms. Escoto has failed to produce any evidence that she made a report of anything which would be considered abuse of a student. Miranda Escoto stands by her story.
We have to be the voice and the eyes for those who cannot speak, who cannot see. And they are there, and they are the perfect victims.
Sweetwater Unified calls Escoto's accusations baseless and a distraction that draws attention away from learning and also wastes public funds that would be better spent in the classroom. Now, her trial is expected to last several weeks, and of course, you can count on Team 10 to follow up and let you know what happens.
Because usually we hear from parents. To hear from teachers, whole different angle.
Shocked to hear that the principal's first reaction would be anger instead of questioning and trying to figure out more.
This is her side, though.
This is her side.
This is her side. Yeah. We haven't heard from the principal, but she says there's a very large group of people that just don't want you to speak out. Just keep your nose down and do your work.
I'd love to hear that other side.
Our Team 10 investigators are focusing on bullying in schools and the cost to local families. They've exposed how big the issue is, the dangers, the consequences, and what happens when adults are at the center of the problem.
Our Team 10 investigator Adam Rakusin discovered districts and students are working to put an end to bullying.
The 2017 Miss California Junior Preteen Photogenic second runner-up.
For a 10-year-old, winning a trophy can be a big deal. Is this all of yours as well?
Yes, this is the 2000, I think some of the 2016s.
Winning so many, you don't know where to put them. That's just special.
My dad was like, where are you going to put these? Because this one's full. The upstairs on my shelf is about to fall off.
I don't think there's any disagreement that when it comes to National American Miss competitions, Nia Bollinger's got that figured out. It's all about self-confidence and communication skills. When it comes to life at school, things for Nia weren't always as easy.
First grade, I got bullied because they thought I was not smart. Because they judged me that I had NLD, and they thought that that would make me dumb.
NLD means nonverbal learning disorder. Kids with NLD can have trouble recognizing nonverbal cues, like facial expressions and body language. In grade school, anything that makes you different can make you a target. Nia had that target for a few grade levels.
Is what they're saying true? And I knew to myself it wasn't true.
But it hurt when people say that, right?
Yes. It really does hurt.
Instead of closing off, Nia took that pain and flipped the script.
Definitely am a victim, but I did take a stand, and I fought through what was wrong, and I became, like an encourager to the school. That was how I learned how to protect myself from being bullied.
Nia recorded this cell phone video of her own experiences with bullying and a call to stand up against it.
Bullies try to take your power, but it's not theirs to take.
When students take that power back and advocate for each other, the experts believe that can make a major difference.
Most effective way to reduce bullying is to not just depend on the school administration and the teachers. You have to use your most important resource, which are your students.
Anthony Cejas with the San Diego County Office of Education. Part of his job is getting districts the most up-to-date information and effective ways of educating kids and creating a positive school climate. He believes a little empathy goes a long way.
The more energy that the school puts on developing that positive school climate, I find then that there's less bullying.
Schools are buying into bullying prevention. At San Marcos Unified, kids are preventing bullying and making new friends. New students are paired up with 8th graders for a mentorship program called WEB, or Where Everybody Belongs. In Poway, schools are engaging in the KIND campaign, where kids spread the message of kindness around campus.
If someone's mean, we are like, hey, it's not very nice, don't talk to her that way. Or
Nia says at her school, the bullying stopped. She's no longer a victim, but an advocate. Instead of standing apart, Nia and her classmates stand together, hoping to inspire other children across the county to do the same.
Take a stand, do whatever you think would be right, and see what happens.
Isn't she fantastic with a huge future ahead of her? Now, districts do have policies and procedures in place defining what bullying is and how the investigative process should work. Many are making it much easier to report, such as this page from the Chula Vista Elementary School District. It allows you to come in, you can select a school, you can choose that school, you can get to the next step, and you can actually fill out this reporting. It allows the school to take a really in-depth look at it. Since they launched in 2015, there have been 72 reports just through that system alone. Adam Rakusin, Team 10.
When your child hurts, you hurt 10 times more.
All this week, Team 10 is tackling the problems of bullying, and laws against bullies don't go far enough, according to one Southern California father.
His son was sucker punched, and the attack was posted on social media. As Team 10's Melissa Masiha shows us, that dad is taking his fight for justice all the way to the Capitol. But we do have to warn you, some of the images you're about to see are graphic.
Bullying may be wrong, but it's not always against the law. There's education code that specifically addresses bullying, but when it comes to the California Penal Code, many legal experts and parents say it's time for the law to catch up with technology.
I have 3 kids.
Ed Peisner is busy raising his 3 teenagers, but life changed last December.
It's not a feeling I want any parent to ever experience in my whole life.
That feeling of seeing your child like this.
What was going on? There was blood everywhere.
His son Jordan sucker punched at an LA area shopping center by another teenage boy. But Ed wasn't the only one to watch it. The entire thing recorded and uploaded to Snapchat.
I can't look at the video. I still can.
Jordan spent nearly a week in the hospital with a ruptured eardrum, fractured skull, and a blood clot.
What if that was your child and you were in the hospital wondering if he was going to die from his brain bleeding?
2 teens face charges in connection with Jordan's assault. The person filming did not.
How frustrating was it to know that the person filming wasn't charged with anything?
Very. Everybody's posting and it's out of control.
Ed is working with Assemblymember Matt DeBobne to hold those who film violent attacks accountable. That proposal, named Jordan's Law, now going through the legislative process. We're not talking about the bystander who films a random act of violence. Jordan's Law would punish anyone who conspires to record a crime with the purpose of putting it on social media. Like a getaway driver can be part of a crime, a person filming would be too. The proposal would also increase punishment for the attacker.
Technology is here and the legal system's here.
There's been several high-profile cases around the nation that have shown that in many instances, litigation leads to legislation.
In California, there is a misdemeanor crime for those who electronically post personal identifying data or harassing messages with the intent to cause fear. Enacting new law can be a long process.
In the next 10 years, I wouldn't be surprised if all 50 states expanded the range of criminal prohibitions regarding electronic cyberbullying.
Jordan, now 15, is recovering. Dad says there's still a long road. His life's mission now, changing minds.
It's something to hopefully wake everybody up.
And changing laws.
That's my hope, is that before they do something, they'll pause for a second.
Melissa Messiha, Team 10.
Great story right there. We will continue to track the progress of Jordan's Law and be sure to update you as it makes its way through Sacramento. Team 10 has been looking into the issue of bullying all week long, from how often it happens to success stories like what you saw there. We've posted all of their investigations on our website at 10news.com.